Welcome to Chalk Talk. I'm Chris Love.
And I'm John Stork.
John, another weekend in college sailing, ticking off more berths to nationals. Congrats to the Mesa men's singles sailors, Nevin Snow, Brendan Shanahan, Addison Hackstaff, and in NISA, the New England match race champs, Yale and BC, headed to nationals.
Yeah, it was an awesome weekend, Chris. Couple of interesting notes from the weekend. Yale actually won the NISA Match Race Championship after having a pretty tough seeding round robin. They actually got the 8 seed, that's 8 out of 8, and obviously bounced back on Sunday, had a great day, and came all the way back to win. One other interesting fact is we have to give a shout out to Brendan Shanahan, earning the George Washington Colonials their first nationals bid to any national championship since sometime in the 1950s.
Impressive.
Have you ever wondered why it's so important to be a member of U.S. Sailing? We are all U.S. Sailing, from beginners to experts, from one-design sailors to offshore cruisers, and from instructor trainers to race officials. U.S. Sailing supports all types of sailors in countless ways. Where would sailing be without instruction and safety standards? Where would we be without Learn to Sail programs? Join or renew today to support these resources and ensure sailing remains a lifetime activity for everyone.
This week on Chalk Talk, we have a little bit of a surprise. In the second segment, we decided to have a little fun this week. We've been pretty heavy in the topics of trying to basically solve all the world's problems, and we're going to try to take a break from that this week and have something a little fun for you later in the show. But first, we wanted to focus on one of the kind of up-and-coming teams in college sailing. They're off to a great start this year, Coast Guard Bears. And the Coast Guard Bears had an awesome start to the season, winning the Mrs. Hurst, the Tony Deutsch Women's Regatta. They had a 5th at the Harry Anderson, and they also recently won the men's single-handed championship behind their performance from their senior Avery Fanning. So this week we're really proud and excited to bring an interview with their coach, Brian Swingley, who's been there a long time, and Chris has an interview with him.
Today on Chalk Talk, we're really pleased to have on the program head coach at the U.S. Coast Guard Academy, Brian Swingley. Welcome, Brian.
Thanks, Chris. Thanks for having me.
Now, Brian, how long have you been coaching at Coast Guard?
This is going on my 9th season. I can't believe it. I started out as sort of a seasonal part-time assistant coach, and then I became co-head coach, and so this is now my 5th year as the head coach at the academy.
And what's that transition been like? I know you used to have Mark Zagel as your co-head coach, and now you just recently brought on a new hire, didn't you?
We just hired Chris Clevin from, he was a graduate of Hobart and William Smith, and he's added a lot of depth to the program as well. So we have 4 coaches actually that help out with the team. Myself, Doug Clark's our director of sailing, Alan Kruger is our waterfront director, and Chris, and so we have got a lot of experience, a lot going on. The kids get a lot of interaction with coaches, which is really a unique thing here, I think.
I feel like you guys at Coast Guard have a lot that's unique. It's an amazing place to sail if anyone's ever been there, and most college sailors from the Northeast have been there because you guys host so many regattas, you've got so many boats, but it's really a unique program being a military academy and your unique location and your resources. Tell us a little bit about what it's like to be a Coast Guard sailor.
Yeah, there's no doubt that it's unique, and to be honest, I sort of know what goes on in their lives outside the sailing team, but I still am learning new things every day. The biggest thing that I always say is that their time is being stretched and pulled by almost everyone here, including us. They've got a huge workload. They have their military responsibilities, and then they're each assigned different tasks to kind of help run the school. So all of that on top of what we're asking from them down here is quite a huge load. So we've learned to, first of all, we're extremely efficient on the water. That's kind of one of our biggest goals is to make sure that we're being efficient when we're practicing. But we also know when it's time to take a break. You know, this past weekend, for example, the whole team took the weekend off. It was a holiday weekend. It's time to recharge the batteries. So that's kind of been one of the progressions over the last couple of years.
Well, we've got you on the program today, obviously, because Coast Guard is really showing its skills, rising back to power, it seems like. If you don't mind, I'll just go over some of the recent results. Of course, we saw last spring nationals, you guys finished 10th at co-eds, 6th at women's, and then this fall, it's been great, winning the Mrs. Hurst and some big co-ed finishes, a 5th at the Harriers, 7th at Denmark, 7th at St. Mary's, and of course your single-handed sailors. We've got freshman Dana Roadie, finishing 2nd behind Erica Reinecke at NISA Women's, and then Avery Fanning winning the NISA Men's Single-Handed Champs. So, you know, I know that the Coast Guard was once a major power in ICSA, but you know, but you really haven't seen this kind of success in a long time. What do you credit for the last couple of years and the track that Coast Guard is on right now?
Well, I think you're totally right on, Chris. You know, the Academy and the academies used to be, well, and now are becoming, again, big powerhouses of college sailing. We're the only ones with boats, the first schools with full-time coaches. And then as college sailing kind of progressed to many teams having full-time coaches, many teams having full fleets of boats and a lot of support, you know, I think for Coast Guard, they kind of weren't quite caught up to the new wave, I guess, is a good way of putting it. And so it started 5-6 years ago, just like any other team, with recruiting. We were really lucky enough to have our current superintendent as a past member at the dinghy team. And she obviously is really enthusiastic about sailing, and now the academy as a whole is really enthusiastic about sailing and realize how important this sport is to people who are pursuing careers on the water.
You know, I mentioned some specific examples. Avery Fanning, not only with the single hands, but also leading the co-ed team to a couple of great finishes. What is it that's driving some of these individual performances and individual improvement?
Well, I think that most of the people that you're talking about on our team came in with a lot of that drive and a lot of that fire to perform at the top level. We certainly try to create that atmosphere in practice. We've got a really cool team dynamic where everyone's pushing each other really hard. If you make a mistake, you're immediately at the back of the fleet. But then we spend some time talking about it, and you know, if I beat you, you may you know, come over and ask me why later in the practice. We've got a lot of that going on. But certainly there's a lot of drive on the individual level, which is then driving the team overall.
Yeah, a great example there would be Nicky Barnes, one of the shining stars from last year's nationals, as a freshman, and now a sophomore this fall. What's it like working with somebody like that who's just got so much raw talent right out of the gate?
Well, not only Nicky, but our entire team. I always say they keep us on our toes all the time. I mean, it's great as a coaching staff. We have to make sure that we are organized and we know what we're talking about. You know, and because they demand a lot out of us, and you know, which I think is absolutely phenomenal. But yeah, for someone like Nicky who came in with a ton of international experience, going to the youth worlds, it was kind of a neat transition for her because she hadn't done a ton of the short course. What's great for us is they come in with speed, and then we spend a lot of time talking about the intricacies of the college sailing race course, the starting line, making plays happen over and over and over and over again. And some of that they love to see over and over again.
Another acquisition that seems to be looking strong out of the gate is Dana Roadie. I kind of get the feeling it didn't take much to convince her to come to Coast Guard. Talk about the legacy of the Roadies.
Yeah, believe it or not, I've known Dana for a really long time because her oldest sister, Krista Roadie, sort of started putting our women's program on the map. Back in 2007, she won the single-handed national championship, and her sort of class and era is what drove a lot of the recruiting of what we're seeing now. But believe it or not, it did take a little bit of convincing to have Dana sign up. She wanted to make sure that all her options were open. She was certainly being sought after by a lot of powerhouse teams, and so there are things sort of pulling her in a lot of different directions. But ultimately, we're excited, obviously, to have her. And yeah, so far, we've seen right away that she can step up to the plate and play at big regattas as a freshman.
Well, we promised at the top of our program that we wouldn't try to solve all the world's problems this episode. We've got some fun stuff coming up, but we can't let you off the hook without asking the question we're asking all of our guests this season, and that's, if you, Brian, had the power to change something in ICSA for the better, what would you change?
Well, that's a loaded question. I think that there's a lot of talk right now about considering splitting our seasons between or having a fleet race season and a team racing season. We are now having to manage time and making sure that we're not causing burnout in our athletes. And I think as a sport, we can probably achieve a lot of that by looking at our schedule as a whole. I think the schedule probably has never been rewritten. It was written once and then added and added and added and added to. And I think we should take a look at sort of what we're trying to accomplish and make a better product. And by splitting up the seasons and maybe making them a little bit shorter as well, so that each regatta really matters and you're playing for something every single time you hit the water, I think that would benefit our athletes. It would benefit what college sailing is looking to achieve overall, and probably benefit all of our athletes' lives back at school and in the classroom as well. So.
Now, last spring there was a little bit of an experiment with splitting up the spring season to better delineate the team racing and the fleet racing, making sure that there was some fleet racing before co-ed nationals. But I'm kind of getting the sense you're talking about a more of a sea change, moving the championships to match the season that they're competing in the regular season. Am I wrong?
Yeah, exactly. We did try to sort of split the seasons a little bit last spring and had all our conference championships earlier in team racing. But yeah, what I'm referring to is moving a championship to the fall. So moving one of the two major championships to the fall.
All right. Well, we'll definitely be picking that discussion up as we move along in this 14-15 season. But we really appreciate you coming by and sharing your insights and a little bit about the Coast Guard Academy. I know you'll be a team to watch this season. So thanks, Brian. Best of luck to you.
Thanks a lot, Chris.
Yeah, thanks, Brian, again. It's awesome to see you guys doing so well, and continued luck.
The Zim 15 is moving dinghy sailing forward as the first performance dinghy to hit the market in 2 decades. Designed specifically for team racing and short courses, the Zim 15 is turning heads with its sleek look and advanced systems. The carbon rig and laminated sails make the Zim 15 a light air rocket that is easily depowered as the breeze builds. The Zim 15 is the boat clubs have been asking for to attract a college and post-college sailor.
So, as promised, for the second segment today, we're going to have a little bit of fun, and so I came up with this little idea of the first ever Chalk Talk draft. And basically, Chris and I are each going to draft our own kind of all-star college sailing team, and you guys, the viewers, are going to basically vote and tell us who did a better job. And feel free to leave your comments telling us how dumb we are and how many people we missed. So the way that we've formatted it to make it a little more simple for us to handle, We're only going to do a 10-year gap of college sailing. So anybody who graduated in the last 10 years, so 2004 to 2014. And we're each going to pick 9 sailors. And the 9 sailors are going to go into 3 categories. We're going to take 3 male skippers, 2 female skippers, and 4 crews. And I'm probably going to mop Chris's floor with my performance.
My floor could use a mopping, John. Thanks. I like this idea. This is going to be fun. It's we've only been working together a few weeks, but I think I know how your mind works. So I think I'm going to hold my own here, despite you having been around a lot longer than me in college sailing.
Yeah, I shed most of my hairs out there on the college sailing circuit, and if you think you have an idea of how my brain works, that makes one of us.
All right, John, call it in the air.
Heads.
It is heads. First pick goes to John Stork.
Okay, so keeping in mind that we're basically battling for the foul trophy in college sailing, the best overall team, I'm going to have to focus on where am I going to get some points. So my first overall pick is going to be Taylor Canfield, because I don't think you're going to beat me with anybody in a match race against Taylor Canfield. So my first pick is Taylor.
That's fair. That is fair. Taylor Canfield, pretty unbeatable in match racing. Thinking about the last 10 years, there's only a few that maybe have a shot at beating Taylor, but probably a lot more versatility. And I think you've overlooked an obvious choice. How about gold medalist Anna Tunnicliffe from ODU class of 2005, a match racer, a single-handed sailor, a team racer, could be a co-ed sailor if I needed, and certainly one of the best women sailors out there. Nice job on your first round pick.
Yeah, I can't argue with that. I had the pleasure of sailing against Anna. We were the same year, sailed against each other my whole time down in Mesa, and it was awesome, and that's definitely a wise pick. With my second pick, I'm going to go with somebody who I believe could actually compete with Anna on at least a few of the disciplines. I'm going to take 2012 BC graduate Annie Hager.
Whew, fair point there. That's definitely given me a run for my money on the women's side. But, you know, for most of the foul trophy, we've got at least 2 people in the boat. So you reminded me, how about another Olympian, Annie's current crew and former teammate, Briana Provancha. Probably one of the best all-around boaters. I could picture her being the tactician on the match racing as well as team race, women's. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't argue with that pick either, Chris. I'm pretty disappointed that I didn't, that she wasn't available for me to take her with my third pick. but that's how the draft goes, I guess. So number 3, I gotta think about what's gonna get me some points in the foul trophy. I think you're gonna have a hard time beating me in men's single-handeds if I take Juan Megley. So I'm gonna take Juan Megley, 2013 Charleston Cougar, to win me some points in single-handeds.
You're really going with the specialists here. That is gonna be tough to beat. I don't think there's anyone I can think of that's got a better shot at single hands than Juan Megley. But again, you know, there's a lot of events out there. Versatility is key. Somebody I think has a shot at beating Juan, but certainly has a shot at the team race champs and the co-ed champs. How about 2011 Georgetown graduate Charlie Buckingham?
Yep. This is a tough exercise because every time you pick somebody, you're leaving someone really good on the board. But yeah, I'm feeling pretty good about my team so far. I think one thing that I'm going to do now, I think I got to start focusing on crews because nobody's getting around the race course well without some good crews. So with my 4th pick, I'm going to take one of my former college teammates, Augusta Nadler. Augusta Nadler graduated from Hobart William Smith in 2006. And little known fact, she sailed in college sailing's team racing Final Four all 4 years of her college career. So she was nasty, and she would be a good pick.
Well, I'll take a different tack here and go back at it with a men's skipper. Also a match racing threat. I'm not sure who I'm going to play to try to take down Taylor Canfield, but how about from St. Mary's, 2011 graduate Michael Menninger, one of the best team racers, one of the fastest guys out there, and we had him on the show last week. He's got a lot of good ideas about college sailing as well.
Yeah, we really enjoyed our time with Michael last week, and there's no doubt he's continuing to prove that he's a really, really talented sailor. That's a pretty good pick. For my fifth pick, I'm gonna stay in the crew department. I think my team needs some good crews. So one of the best I ever saw, Marla Menninger, I'm gonna take right after her brother. With my fifth pick, I'm taking Marla from Yale. She's a really versatile crew, and I think that's gonna help win me some big events.
I'm going to follow that trend a little bit. Another versatile crew you may remember from last year's Nationals, and of course the past 4 years, part of that unbelievable Yale squad, Eugenia Custo-Gregg. I think, again, a great crew for team racing, men's, women's, match racing, you name it. Not to mention the range of breeze. I think she's going to be really nasty as the breeze comes up in our mock foul trophy.
Yeah, obviously I am familiar with Eugenia. She was tough for us to deal with at Dartmouth for a bunch of years, but I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good about my team. My sixth pick, I'm going to stay in the crew department still. I gotta keep rounding out my solid crews, and I'm going to take somebody kind of off the radar. I'm going to take 2007 USC Trojan Vanessa DeCalabas. Vanessa crewed for Mikey Anderson back in the day, and they had a really good run, and she and Mikey were a huge part of it. And I think she's going to have a really wide wind range, just like you're saying. And I'm psyched with my picks. I think you're going down.
I'm hoping Vanessa's not watching this week. Vanessa DeCalabas is a former roommate of mine and is not going to be happy that you picked her before I had a chance. Well, in that case, I guess I will stick with some of that recent Yale University Eli magic. How about Heather May, class of 2013, for my starting crew? Men's, women's, whatever.
Yep, good. Like I said, there's plenty of talent to go around. It's just about shaping a good team here. So I think I got to start focusing on the women's side again. Women's skippers. So I've got Annie already. So I need another good women's skipper. I think I'm going to take 2010 Charleston Cougar Allie Bleacher. I think she was one of the fastest I saw during my coaching career, and I think she's going to be a good threat in the women's side.
Unbelievably speedy. I'm going to have a tough time picking anybody who sailed against Allie during her 4 years. So I'm just going to go a little bit deeper into the record books. What about 2006 Female College Sailor of the Year, Alana O'Reilly?
Alana, that's a good pick. And like you said, we have no data to put her against the other girls. So nice job.
And of course, she would never have anyway, because they were on the same team.
That is also true. Maybe there's some Charleston alumni regatta results where we can get those two racing against each other. That probably shouldn't count, though. Okay, moving on. I'm gonna round out my fourth crew pick with a real versatile crew. I'm going to look, as the coach of this team, I'm appointing myself as coach of this team. I'm going to look for any opportunity I can to get this guy in. I'm going to take Chris Clevin, from Hobart, William Smith, a friend of mine, and now an assistant coach at Coast Guard, working for Brian Swingley. And I think he's really knowledgeable of the game, really fit, and just an incredible athlete in the boat. So I'm pretty psyched with my 8th pick, Chris Clevin.
I still need some speed in the front of the boat, looking for a starting crew. Nobody that I can think of is going to get me that kind of speed better than 2009 Boston College graduate Carrie Amarante.
Yeah, Carrie's pretty good. I remember days when she was crewing for Adam Roberts, and we used to basically look to her for what our crews should be doing. So that's a pretty good pick. So I've got 1 pick left. I need a 3rd male skipper. Got to round out my team here. I think I'm gonna stick with the international flavor of my men's skippers, and I'm gonna take Alec Anderson, 2013 Roger Williams Hawk, to round out my team. I'm psyched.
Wow, John, 9 picks and no storks on your squad. I thought for sure they'd be going in the early rounds, so you didn't hear about it over dinner. But you left it open for me. I'm gonna take it. I still need a third member of my team racing squad, and I'm going to take former Chalk Talk host, Dartmouth 2007 graduate Eric Stork.
Yeah, that's not going to sit well at the family dinner table, but what can you do? Stork University sailing team is no storks allowed. What can I tell you? So let's just give a quick rundown again. So sailing for Stork University, we've got Taylor Canfield, Juan Magley, and Alec Anderson as men's skippers. Women's skippers, we've got Annie Hager and Allie Bleacher. And our all-star group of crews, we've got Augusta Nadler, Marla Menninger, Vanessa DeCalabas, and Chris Clevin.
All right, and sailing for the College of Love, we've got Charlie Buckingham, Michael Menninger, and Eric Stork driving the 2-handed boats. Got Anna Tunnicliffe and Alana O'Reilly on the women's side. Still haven't decided who I'm going to start as match racer. And then for my crews, Carrie Amarante and Heather May starting, Eugenia Custo-Greig and Briana Provancha, depending on the breeze. I think I've got a pretty strong squad here, a pretty good shot at the Chalk Talk Mock Fowl Trophy. So, how do we decide who wins here, John?
So, most people watch this video as it's posted on Facebook. So what we can do is underneath the video on the Chalk Talk Facebook page, let's just open it up to comments, and you can also just put in either Stork University or the College of Love, and don't blame me for having a worse last name for this exercise than Chris. So you can either just put Stork University or College of Love as to who do you think would win in this battle royale of sailing all-stars. Or you can just leave your comments saying how dumb Chris and I are and how many people we missed out on. It is pretty glaring. I mean, there's some big talent that we left off the board. Obviously, one Thomas Barrows, pretty incredible sailor, didn't make our list somehow. That's probably a glaring oversight. Brian Lake, Hawaii legend. Any kiteboarding fans probably know him as Bernie nowadays, but once upon a time he won A Division at College Sailing Nationals 3 times in his college career. So there's some big names that we left off the list, but this is what we're going forward with. Stork University is going to be flying babies, delivering babies all around the world.
Well, John, I appreciate it. Thank you for bringing this exercise to Chalk Talk. As we've been saying, we're trying to keep things fresh here. Let us know what you think. Let us know who you would pick, and we'll get back to you in a week's time. That's going to do it for us here at Chalk Talk. Thanks for watching.
See you, everybody.